We're almost at Sukkot. We finished Rosh Hashanah, Baruch Hashem. We finished Yom Kippur, Baruch Hashem. So now we're at Sukkot. And Sukkot is what I feel, I don't know if I should really say it, maybe the most loaded, I shouldn't really say it, but I'll say it anyway. Maybe the most loaded, symbolically, okay, how about that? The most symbolically, Kabbalistically loaded of all the holidays. There's so many things involved with it. I don't know what you do. There's so many things involved with it that we should really take a good look at that. So from a spiritual point of view, Chag Sukkot, which is Sukkot that we're saying, is one of the most defining moments in a human development, in our development. At the beginning, and why is that? Because according to Kabbalah, that indicates the beginning of the penetration of the light to the neshama of the person. Mamash kach. After we prepare ourselves in Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, we prepare the kli, we prepare the vessel. Now we are clean. Now we're allowing the light to come in, and that light is really the light, what we call the superior light, right? Which is called, that's supposed to really fill the whole entire neshama, our whole entire soul. And that light has a special name, Rabotai. You know me, right? Or maybe you don't. That light has a special name. Anybody know what's the name?
Makif?
No. What? No. No. Torah. That light is called Torah. The name of this superior light, it's called Torah. And when we are completely saturated with this light that is called Torah, we reach an unbelievable spiritual state that it's called
Simchat Torah.
Simchat Torah. Very good, Simcha. You go Simcha, and that's why we have the special occasion that what we have, which is Simchat Torah. We join the Torah because now we are filled completely with the light. We prepared the vessel. We are full with light, and now we could face so-called the world. And there's so much to say. I really have like 6 pages here, double-sided. So much to say. I don't know if I'll be able to cover it all. But I'm just telling you, it's really loaded. So let's look at some things, some symbolism, and maybe, because really there's so much to say, so much to talk. So if we'll touch some of the symbolism of the Chag, maybe it'll give us some idea to what we're doing. So the measurement and the external shape of the Sukkah are known to us from the Kabbalah. That it's like any other mitzvot, right? We know that the mitzvot are really, in a way, the laws of Olam Haba. Chukei ha'olam mitzvot hem chukei ha'olam haba. The laws of Olam Haba. Okay, that's the blueprint of Olam Haba. And we, in conjunction with whatever is happening up there, trying to make this world here also apply to this law so that this will create a harmony. So that's what we call the Tikkun Olam, fixing up the world, that we do it like this. So it's the reflection of the spiritual laws in which they represent. The Mikubalim tell us that that mitzvot, that when we do it here, we also give a special spiritual feeling to the mitzvot. So it's not just a technical thing like that. There's also a spiritual aspect for that. And besides the actual act of the mitzvah that we do, it also does something to the people, to the neshama of the person. When you do the mitzvah, it does something to your neshama. It fixes your neshama. It cleanses your neshama. So if you're able to feel it, or fulfill it and to execute it appropriately, you will feel something completely different during any Chag, but especially during Sukkot, and that will give you a sense of eternal and completion and harmonious state of being. But it's very important to remember that those physical actions that we're doing The physical actions don't make any hashpa'ah on the neshama. Anything physical that you do doesn't make any hashpa'ah on your neshama. Action, for example, if I take this, doesn't do anything, right? So the connection between man and HaKadosh Baruch Hu goes only through your heart. That's why we say HaKadosh Baruch Hu bochel levavot. He examines the heart. So how you are connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, how you connected to God, is not by I see you doing this mitzvah or doing the mitzvah. Is only dependent on what goes straight into your heart. So technically you could put your tefillin on or shake your lulav or do this or do that. But if your heart is empty, you just did a physical action. You didn't do anything spiritual. We should be able to generate something like this inside. That's why even today, somebody said to me, "Oh, you're not going to daven in shul?" I said, "No, I try to find a place inside of me that I'm going to connect further to HaKadosh Baruch Hu." My connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not dependent on a place or on a location or geographic location or topographic location. It's really based on my heart, where my heart is. And we need to remember this all the time. A pu'ula ruchanit, a spiritual work, can only be done by a person who acquires a certain, call it filter, or a certain curtain, which is really the ability to resist and be able to resist and actually lift them up beyond his selfish, besides being an egoist, his selfish urges. When you remove your selfishness, you start to go into the spiritual path. And a person like this already got the ability to really receive the ultimate light of this pleasure, and that pleasure is called Or HaBoreh, the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When you do something from inside the heart and it's selfless, you feel tremendous. And many times we said, and many researchers will tell you, that maybe one of the most meaningful things that you can do into your life is volunteer to do something, of course, something good. I'm not talking about like robbing, looting and shooting the police, like some people do. I'm talking about giving from yourself to the well-being of others with no strings attached. That will probably will give you more meaning in your life than anything else. That's why we are so connected to our children. Because our children give us an ability to really do something selfless. You give yourself out to your children. But if you are having children so they can take care of you when you're old, well, you're missing out the golden opportunity to really do something special here. So if something is done only for self-pleasure, right? If something is done only for pleasure, that is completely earthy and completely selfish. That's not a spiritual act. That's why it all depends on your heart. Even something like a mitzvah depends on my heart. So we know that each one of the minhagim, of the traditions of Chag HaSukkot, symbolizes and also, or symbolizes, let's put it this way, a certain action inside the spirit of the person. And when a person does that, he's able to grow up higher and higher and higher and higher in a spiritual domain. So traditions like, for example, sitting in a sukkah or making the bracha on the arba minim are only symbols that really came to indicate to us a tremendous spiritual revelation that a person got in his neshama. So we need to understand what's going on here. For example, if we're talking about the sukkah, so the sukkah symbolizes the structure of the vessel, of the kli, to receive the light and the characteristics of that light as well. So, or in other words, it represents our neshama. So in order for our neshama to be able to receive that Or Etzion, that superior light, we need to build inside an infrastructure that what is the spiritual infrastructure that we call inside, that structure, that ma'arechet, that apparatus, it's called sukkah, that in a way is going to reflect the relationship with the special light that we have, and that's for us will be, Yeshua, what's that light is going to be? Or Makif. So as long as the neshama is in the process of tikkun, fixing up and making and so on and so forth, the neshama is not able to receive because you're fixing, right? You're fixing, so you can receive. Once you've done the tikkun, then you can start receiving. So many times, or how does it work when a person does a tshuva? And we say, "Mezumal lechaya," you could get your life in chaya olam haba berega. When you took the vessel and you shattered it, and in the same time you created a new vessel that it's clean, like certain rabbis, without mentioning their names, what they did, they put their head between their knees and they cried themselves, and they said, "Oh, mezumal lechaya olam haba." And for that, the Gemara says, "Oh, there's a person that can get chaya olam haba with an instant." And that's the power of tshuva. Through the power of tshuva, you shatter the old vessel, and immediately you're building on a clean vessel, then you get the light. And because of that light, all of a sudden you're on a high level, or a higher level than even a tzaddik gamur. Now there's another, today we spoke about one reason, here's another reason why we say that Baalei Tshuva stand on a higher level than a tzaddik. Because the kli is not corrupted, it's perfect and receives so much light, boom, it goes like this. And how come the kli doesn't shatter? The kli itself doesn't, because the light comes, and we know that originally in Kabbalah, the light shatters because it is done with love. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu holds the kli for him, the neshama comes, and then he gets support, and that's it. That's how it works. Make sure not to get your kli dirty. The kli dirty. Okay? So as long as the neshama is in the process of tikkun, the light stays outside. And that's called light HaMekiv. The oil that cannot enter into the kli, that's called oil HaMekiv. And remember when we did the Zoom, we spoke about these things many times. We did some serious learning over there. So in order for the light to get inside and to fill the neshama, the neshama really needs to create a certain level of equilibrium inside in its characters to be able to receive the light. So for me, if I would think about this, it's like this. If you think about the space shuttle that goes into orbit, into space, all right, and then you have there's a space station, and then there is a rocket that goes over there, and now they need to actually dock into one another. And now they're going, you know how fast they're going? They're going something like crazy, like 32,000 miles an hour, or kilometers an hour, I don't know, whatever it is. It's in a crazy amount of speed that they're going, and yet it has to be, boom, perfect. Of course, it's all relative and so on and so on, but still things fly very fast in space. So it's this cosmic dance that we need to align ourselves, our neshama, with the light in order to make the merge, the docking procedure that the light is going to able to penetrate inside the kli, which is the neshama, and then it's going to fill up. Otherwise you can't. It's all going to spin around, and be in orbit all the time. We're never going to have actual docking. לא תהיה אף פעם חבירה, לחבור משום to connect. So, in order to do so, a person needs to do one thing, and that is, of course, to elevate himself from selfishness and to really be able to, the perfect alignment is the ability to give, because the light, one of the main characteristics of the light is the ability to give with no condition. The same thing is HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us everything with no condition. He gives us. He gives. All the time. So we are also, if you want to align yourself with the Lord, learn to give from yourself. Don't just think about yourself. Don't think about your schedule. Don't think about this. Think about everybody else. Get up and do something from yourself. By the way, tell Avi that I miss him. That was pretty quick that the guy was here. So the laws of, for example, building the sukkah, as we said, that really symbolizes the fashion in which the neshama becomes more appropriate or goes alongside to the light itself. So a person that wants to progress and develop in a spiritual manner, all he wants is to do what? He wants to have ahava, to have love with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and to unify with Him. He wants to be, that there's not going to be any distance between him and God. So he aligns himself to the way of God. Whatever God tells him to do, he does. It's no such thing as, I don't feel like it. No such thing. As many billion times we say, the numerical value of love is 1. Okay? And that's what I said to you. All of a sudden it gives you a totally different meaning to somebody that you tell them, oh, I love you. I love you means I am one with you. And it doesn't have to be a physical one with someone. It could be a one that I feel my neshama is connected to your neshama. And therefore you could love a man, you can love a woman, you can love, you can love your land or the country, that you feel one with it. Absolutely one. And whatever they'll do, it's like their wish is your wish. It's the same thing. So if we're going to say the word we are making love, in Kabbalistic term, making love will be becoming one. Removing all selfishness from within you. And I'm not saying self-dismantling of yourself as an entity, but you understand that you're an entity that it can give, that you have to give, so there's not a problem. It's not that I don't exist. It's not that I'm not important. I am important because I need to give. I want to give. I have to give. So it's a totally different concept than what we used to. Of course, in our society, in our world, it's all about selfishness. It's all about you. It's all about how you feel and what you feel and so on and so forth. It's not about giving. It's not what I can do for you. It's what you're going to do for me. Not what you could do, what you're going to do for me. And that's why we are in darkness. Because we are so selfish, we're not willing to give from ourselves to anyone or anything to share with anyone. So we are in darkness, and I don't care how many LED lights we have. We are in a spiritual darkness because our society, our modern society, became a very selfish, give me entitled society. That's not good. So when you want to feel one with someone, you're looking to become one. You're not looking for the pleasure of being one. You're looking just to become one. That's the essence. That's what you want to become. So for that, we need to ask for powers. We have the abilities to be able to resist selfishness and so on and so forth. And we need the ability to, the kochot, to build the schach. Schach is lesochech. Lesochech is to shelter, to shield. Schach mishum lesochech. I'm shielding you, right? So therefore, we need a special schach for the sukkah that we build. So now that's why a schach that you put on top of the sukkah can only be from something that grows from the ground. It cannot be mekabel tumah. Now you understand why. All of a sudden, you understand why it cannot be something that's mekabel tumah. Now you understand why it cannot be a schach or something that is gazul, that somebody stole. It has to be pure because it needs to protect you. All of a sudden, these things make sense. So the avodah of the person, when he's so-called building the schach, really symbolizing building the masach or the screen, that he has there in order to protect and to separate himself from selfishness that exists all the time. So that's why it's very important. And now, of course, all of a sudden, I'm sure that your mind is going, whoa, my goodness, all of a sudden I understand, why do I have to invite guests to my sukkah, right? And that's how things evolved. So, and when a person is asking or has a request, and his request is all about giving, and it's all a request that it comes from a place of love, right? So the Or Makiv, that surrounding light that actually now is able to enter and penetrate, is going to fix the neshama, and by doing so, is going to give it the ability to elevate beforehand. Mimele HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to grant your request. HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't grant your request many times because why? You really don't mean it for the well-being of the people. You mean it for yourself. But if you ask something truthfully for the kavod of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, or for the Torah, or for Am Yisrael, from a place of love, from a place of oneness, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to grant it to you, and He's going to give you more than you think, more than you can even imagine. And we need to understand. So that is the koach of the schach is going to allow a person to receive to let the light, that Ora Mekif, to penetrate into his neshama, and then it becomes Ora Chochma. When that light actually penetrates, Ora Mekif penetrates inside, and now all of a sudden the process has been complete. Now that light has a different name. Now it's called Ora Chochma, the light of wisdom, because you understand, you're wise. You understand why things are all about. So if you think that it's all about yourself, you're not a chacham, you're a fool. I don't care. You can have like 5 PhDs, speak 20 languages, but you can be an absolute fool because you don't understand it's all about you. It's about you becoming a vessel to give, to share, and so on and so forth. So also Chag HaSukkot is called also Chag HaAsif, which is gathering, be'ospechem et ktsir admatchem, when you gather all the harvest from your field. And this is, of course, one of the 3 holidays which we talk in the Torah that really will able to give you a proper Jewish outlook on really what life is all about, the essence of life. So the Kabbalah teaches us that the Chag HaSukkot, Sukkos, besides being a holiday of joy, of really pure joy from a spiritual elevation, really expresses two other main ideas that it really holds with it. So the first one is the sense of nothing lasts forever, even called November rains. Nothing lasts forever. Everything is temporary. So by recognizing that there is something that is forever, eternal, Kedusha Brichu, and the Torah that is forever, eternal, right? So I understand, right, that there is something that is not eternal. And if I don't want to understand that, so therefore the Torah says, okay, Habibi, titzeh achshav mi'abayit, and go out. Go out to the sukkah. You think you're building a house. I mean, look at the houses they build here, for crying out loud. They're building houses. People are like 60, 70 years old building houses, spending all the money for what? For what? That they work so hard for bricks? You gotta be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me. Sit down and learn. I mean, you already smell like mothballs, your life is fading faster than a toupee in a hurricane. Mm-hmm. And you're thinking about putting bricks. So guess what, buddy? Get out of the sukkah, get out of your house, move in the sukkah, and start internalizing what it really is about your life. Habibi, life goes on. Even without you. So that is, so you go out from your house, which is comfortable and is really comforting, and it's all comfortable, like this. You have all this stuff, and then all of a sudden you go to the sukkah. Of course, it's the zecher la'aronei kavod. We all know that they had in the desert, but here the sukkah, everything is moving, and there is drafts, and there is rain that is coming, and so on and so forth. And everything is I mean, you feel things are moving. It's kind of to tell you, Tishma, pay attention to where you're standing, pay attention to where you're holding. You're not getting younger, Habibi. You're not getting younger. תחשוב מה אתה קורא, הזמן הולך. הזמן הולך. Time is going by. And you understand it because when you are here, there's sunproof, no rain comes. Well, sometimes over there, but no rain comes, and then over there things are going, and you feel the movement of the schach, and things are moving, and you hear the birds. That's why it's good to go outdoors. But of course, if you go outdoors, never skip yeshiva because they're going to shoot you, or do your internship, or whatever it is that you're doing. So. It's just, again, life goes on and so on and so forth. Therefore, we need to understand and internalize that we are only guests here. We're temporary. We are bypassers from the cradle to the grave. We all passerbys. We go from one silence to another silence, from the silence in your mother's womb to the silence of the grave. It's a passage that we all going to go. Some have a longer journey, some a shorter journey. But we are going. We're all travelers here. We are traveling in time. We're not going to be here. The situations are not going to be like this forever, for good or bad. For good or bad, they're not going to stay like this forever. Nothing stays the same. Everything is always in motion. And so that's what it is. So it says in Tehillim, in Psalms 103, Enosh kechatzir, a person, humans are like hay. Yamav ketzitza sadeh, they're coming up like a small, how do you call, like tiltan, how do you call it? What is the Irish? Clover, like clover in the field, right? And all of a sudden the wind comes and it's already gone. That's how we are. That's what David HaMelech said. And so the second aspect comes to really express to us the way in which the neshama of the person mit'aleh, how he's being elevated above his selfishness, above his ego, and therefore able to receive the life of HaKadosh Baruch Hu that fills it up during the times of a chag, this chag or any other chag to that matter. Now, but this chag, it fills up all 10 sfirot in a tremendous shefa, in a tremendous abundance. And it's really wonderful to see that in Chag HaSukkot, we have very strong symbolism on that in the Jewish life cycle. For example, if we're talking about the word asif, Aleph Samech Yud Pei, if we talk about different manipulations of gematrias, you're going to come to 7, and that's the 7 days of the Chag that we are allowed to do the mitzvah for 7. And then we do 7 mitzvot in Sukkot. We said, "B'Sukkot tishvu shivat yamim," right? And the minimum size of a sukkah is what? 7 tfachim, and the width of it has to be also minimum 7 by 7, right? So you see, it's all hidden within there. You just need to find it. It's all there. You need to read it. So the Mekubalim tells us that the ability of the Koach HaElyon that really conducts, and Kadosh Baruch Hu's ability to conduct the world and so on and so forth in terms of reality is what giving is all about, giving and love, as we said before. And they tell us that a spiritual reality, we can also, get into the same frequency by understanding that, by also giving and loving your fellow Jew, or actually loving humans, not only your fellow Jew. That's a mitzvah, but actually understanding that giving to anybody, to every person. And that's something that Jews were known for all these years. I mean, without mentioning too many names and so on and so forth, but you don't see, for example, you do find Long Island Jewish, you find Maimonides, you find Beth Israel, you find Mount Sinai, you don't find, the great hospital of the Chinese Wall, you don't find Mongolian gates, or whatever it is, or any other,
Even sinner.
Huh?
Even sinner.
That, or Mount Tijuana, I don't know, you don't find this. Mount Tequila, I don't know, you don't find those things. But you do find all these things all over the place. All over the place. Why? Because we give, not only for ourselves, we give for everybody. Because we love to give. And that's why Jews are very in tune for this kind of a thing. So a person who is really able to develop his neshama, in other words, who is able to really fine-tune his ability and willingness to give to other people, he's in a better frequency, and therefore he receives this, and that what he's receiving at that moment is called Gilui Ruchani, a spiritual revelation. Why? Because whatever is hidden from our senses, from our abilities, right? It's because things are there, but why don't we receive it? Because we are on a different frequency. Right? The frequency is different. I mean, I can speak to a walkie-talkie. Somebody can be on the other side. He's not going to hear me. Why? Because we are on a different frequency. Somebody from down the block can hear me because he's on the same frequency. That's the same thing here. If you want to know what God wants from you, well, tune up to His frequency. That's very simple. So that's for example for the sukkah. Let's talk about the ushpizin. And I'm not talking about the movie. Let's talk about the minhag of ushpizin. Ushpizin in Aramaic means guest, orchim, and in Kabbalah really represents the 7 guests or the spiritual guests, the forefathers of our nation: Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Moshe, Aaron, Yosef, David HaMelech, right? And these are our 7, what we call 7 shepherds. They really come to visit in our sukkah during the Chag. And in Kabbalah it says that the 3 branches of Hadas are also Keneged Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. The 2 branches of Arava are against Moshe ve'Aaron, right? That's Moshe and Aaron. And the lulav is keneged Yosef, very good, keneged Yosef. And the etrog keneged David. Here we go, 7 again, the number 7 in a different representation. We have 7 things, and we hold all things together, so that makes it all 7. So each one really represented different types of spiritual influences, or ashpa'ah ruchanit, as we say. So, and that is exactly on the 7 midot that we have, by the way they appear. So the first one to appear is Avraham. Avraham is called Isha Chesed, and that's therefore Midat Chesed, because it says in Sefer Micha, Chesed Avraham. So Avraham is Midat Chesed, and we know that Avraham, his greatest thing was to do what? Achnasat Ochim, letting people in, guests over. Yitzchak was Midat Gvura. As in Yitzchak is Midat Gvura, we say Ufachad Yitzchak. Really, Pachad Yitzchak, because he was very concerned, Yitzchak, all the time, that he's going to divert and break the parameters in which he's supposed to act, one way or another. So he was very concerned with that. So he needs to be mitgaber on his yetzer and to make sure he's going on the path that he knew that he needed to go. That's why it's called Pachad Yitzchak. Not that Yitzchak was a chicken who was afraid all the time. He was afraid that he's going to go away from where he should be doing, because Yitzchak knew there's not enough time. There's a lot of work to do. Then we have Yaakov, therefore Yitzchak is Gvura, so then Yaakov, which is Tiferet, right, which is the middle section between Avraham and Yitzchak, because his personality had those 2 abilities, or 2 characteristics, both of Avraham and Yitzchak together. Moshe is the Netzach. Netzach is the source of prophecy. And when we say Netzach Yisrael lo yeshaker, also refers to the prophecy or the prophets of the Jews. They don't lie, right? Because if you're a false prophet, you know what we do to you, right? We put you in a slingshot and shoot you like, So therefore, Moshe is Midat HaChesed, Aaron is Midat HaHod. Hod in English is glory, right? Because he's the Kohen Gadol, and he's really glorified when he's wearing his Regila, the Kohen Gadol clothing. He's really glorious, right? And that's what he does. Especially when he does the Avodah in Kodesh HaKodashim, being the Shaliach of Israel. Yosef is what we call Tzaddik Yesod Olam. He is the center column in which the Tzaddik is, he's the Tzaddik represented, the center column in which the world stands on. And that's what we call Yesod. That is the Sfera that is associated with Yosef, right? And Yesod is the Sfera of the Brit. Why? Because Yosef did not pogem be'ot habrit. He did not. He was only doing what he's supposed to be doing. Let's put it this way. And David, which is the Malchut, is the final one, because we say, who do we call our king? David Melech Israel, Chai v'Kayam. David Melech Israel. Not that David HaMelech is alive, no, because he's buried in Har Tzion in Yerushalayim. But the concept that David inherited us, it exists all the time, and therefore in his, his descendants, that's basically it. So, of course, we have. So these are tremendous guests that we have. But what are the acts? What do they actually doing? Those wonderful guests with us on Sukkot. What do those Ushpizim do to bring us? How do they contribute to the ruach of the Shekhinah? So they bring them a spiritual quality to them, and on the other hand, they really, each and every one of them represents beyond their qualities of Gvura or Netzach or this. They represent something which is all about one thing: lack of selfishness. It's all about giving, and that's why they're all shepherds. That's why they're all shepherds. They're all people of the field. They all took care of things, because you cannot be a shepherd and be selfish. You can't. It just doesn't work. Maybe it doesn't make sense to you, but maybe you should take a drive down to Texas or Wyoming or Montana and find yourself a local cowboy and tell him, listen, you cowboy, can you be selfish? No, I ain't selfish. If I see a calf somewhere there, I'm going to put it I'm going to chase it. I'm going to put it even on my horse, and I'm going to bring it up, because I can't leave it behind. You're going to take care of your stuff, but that's what it's all about. And that's why it's very hard for me to understand parents who are selfish, or rabbis who are selfish, or any leader who is selfish. They're not appropriate to become leaders at that point. become a leader, first of all, is to understand that you come at the end. I told you one of my favorite books is The Mission, The Man and Me. You come at the end. You don't come in the front. You are not the first for everything. You are the last one. You are the leader. That's what it means to be a leader. Not me first and then everybody else. That's what a leader is all about. We have a mission to do. And then we need to take care of our people. And then we'll worry about you. זה מנהיגות. So, and all these things, that's why in Sukkot it's very important to do achnasat orchim, and especially people that don't have, people who are poor, aniyim, people that don't have family, people who are alone, gerim, gerei tzedek. It's very important to bring it to your sukkah, yatom, almana, and so on and so forth. That really not only represents the weak part of that we need to take care of, but really represents an opportunity for us they allow us to really come out of myself and bring them in. So that's a tremendous thing for them. So bringing the Ushpizing over, they had many commentaries and many explanations, because every night you have to say you have to actually invite them in, right? And that is one of the most common ways that we do so is they coming to express the wandering Jew in exile. A Jew is never settled, One time it's good for us here, so we stay here. One time it's good in Canada, we go in Canada. One time it's good in Brazil, we go to Brazil. Maybe one time it'll be good in Mongolia, we'll go to Mongolia, The wandering Jew. The Mongolians. Right, Eitan?
Right.
No Chinese food today, right? Okay. So, and this is, why is that? Because we are all guests, as I said to you before, we all guests in this world, and this world is the word of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and we guess here. So now, when we all go into the sukkah, everybody, even if you are multi-billionaire, you need to sit in the sukkah. That is going to be determined to you by halacha how it's going to be built. Or a guy that works for some kind of a government job and makes, whatever you make, right? And you sit in the same sukkah, it has the same schach. You cannot have like a golden cover schach, all the same thing. We're all in this together. Yes, even if you're a multi-billionaire, right? You still are a guest in this world, and your time is going to come to an end. So if we are all equal in that, so might as well just more and more people with us. Let's bring people in. That's why it's very important to bring people in. And the first time it's really mentioned ushpizin like that, it's really brought in the Zohar. And in the Zohar, the word ushpizin is mentioned 31 times. 31 times. During the time of the Ari in Tzfat, when he lived in Tzfat, it became the whole ushpizin thing became even more of a big practice in which they were doing. How are we doing with time here? Okay, we can get. You want to drag it a little longer?
Yeah.
Yeah, מתאים לך.
בטח.
יאללה, בסדר. So to that feeling of bringing the ushpizin in Tzfat, the Mekubalim call it that hangasha, that feeling, call it etrog. And lulav represents, in a state of mind, really represents a state where the person finds tam, but no smell. Oh, it's sweet, but there's no why, because dates have a taste, but they don't smell. So I find reason in that, right? So if you are able to really bring the ushpizin in and you understand the meaning of the whole thing, so yesh lecha ta'am veyesh lecha reach. You have a flavor and you also have a fragrance to it. So that's you are complete. At a different state, it's called lulav. In other words, you are lacking the understanding of why am I doing what I'm doing. I know that, I know what to do, I know how to build the sukkah, but I really don't understand completely. Hadas is a state of mind where there is a smell of fragrance, but there's no flavor. A person understands the importance of spirituality, but he's unable to feel it inside of him. So therefore he's in a state of hadas, or hadasim to that matter. And sometimes in spirituality, a person doesn't feel anything. No tam and no reach and no nothing. And that's the state of arava. Arava, you are there inside. And the Mekubalim explain to us that a person needs to understand that you have to how should I say it? Give me a good word. You have to persevere, right? You have to persevere to continue going in your spiritual work, to be mitkadem, to continue in movement forward all the time. That's why you need to put the guards in, not to fall down. So if, for example, you have a tendency to fall down, I don't know, you are using your telephone in a not so kosher way, if you know what I mean. So somebody will come and says, listen, I'll help you, I'll put some filters on your phone. So at the beginning you say, okay, fine, I understand. And then you say, listen, it really slows me down, I can't pay my bills, I can't do this. So guess what, Rabbi, I can't even listen to you talking on YouTube, on this. So I decided for the sake of Torah to take the filters down, right? People do this all the time. So that you're going back. So you went forward and now you're going back. You need to understand, you need to make sure to put floodgates that would only allow you to have movement forward. Like a tsunami, like a tidal wave. Only forward that goes into HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's what you need to do. Whatever you need to do, להמשיך לגדול באופן רוחני. Not to say, okay, I keep Shabbat, I put mitzvah, I do the tefillin, I give tzedakah, I say, I'm good, I'm fine, done, I'm a good Jew, יש לי חלק לעולם הבא. I did a couple of shidduchim, I should be okay. No, it's not. More and more and more and more and more and more, every time, every day, every moment, every year, all the time. More closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. How close can you get to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Endless amount of closeness. Until you're going to reach a level like Moshe Rabbeinu, that he reached such closeness to God that his neshama just wanted to snap out of his body and never come back. It attached itself to its holy source. Until they reach the level of Moshe Rabbeinu, let me tell you, we got a lot of work to do, man. We got a lot of work to do. So by doing so, when you keep on elevating yourself spiritually, you find reach, fragrance and flavor, tam, in everything that you do. That only, by the way, can come when you learn. Through learning. But learning by itself is not just good, you have to actually put it in practice. So what's the best way to do that? To start teaching people. Lilmodu lelamed. Because the kiyum of the mitzvot, I told you this, kiyum of mitzvot, that they're going to have, they're going to be alive, they're going to exist within you, depends on you moving from stage 1 to stage 2. But if you're not learning, you're not going to do it. And I don't care how much weed you smoke or how many LSDs you pop in, that's not spirituality. Spirituality comes when you are clean of everything. Clear, clean, perfect. Because these will alter your reality in a distorted manner, and you're going to get further than God, and believe me, you would know. So the Sukkah, as we said before, okay, so it says, let's talk quickly about some minhagim. So we said in the Sukkah was seven days for the 7 sferot that we need to do tikkun, which is chesed, gvura, tiferet, netzach, hod, and so on and so forth. How about the upper 3, which is keter, chokhmah, ubina? That is considered to be a part that is beyond our ability to destroy, therefore we don't need to fix, or to blemish, should I say, not to destroy, to blemish, that's why we don't need to fix them. So that's what we do. So let's go to the Sukkah. So the Sukkah symbolizes the neshama of the person. As we said before, is the way that the person is going to elevate himself beyond his selfishness, and it comes in the laws of building the Sukkah as well. We said the Ushpizin are the 7 types of lights that really help us fix the ratzon, fix the will to just receive, and therefore it gives us an opportunity to give on, and it starts with building the Sukkah, and through all the other parts of that as well. Regarding the 7 ushpizin, the 7 guests, each one can also be a special he'ara, not only of fixing something, but shed a different light or a different prism into a different light through the prism into the day. So every day gets his own light until you get the Simchat Torah and you get the whole entire prism, like wow, like this, and then you really get a blinding white light. And in a way, that's like Kutonet Apasim. Kotonet HaPasim of Yosef had all the different colors on it to represent to you the beauty of different influences of this and that. So therefore, the clothing that they were wearing were not just clothing that would lice and so on and so forth. That clothing had meanings in that as well. So you got to be very careful putting a certain clothing. You also making a spiritual statement about the way you're getting dressed all the time. The same thing as we do in Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur we dress up white. Why? To show they were pure. Right? And Tisha B'Av, we wear sack or whatever it is. We put effer and, right, as we said on the head. Why? To show something else. So you got to be very careful with the way you dress, Rabotai. The schach. So the schach, it says, the schach is made out of psolet, goren, veyekev. You know, like trees that we cut down. You know, we cut the branches of grapevines and so on in Israel, whatever they do, right? So therefore, branches that we don't really need. So, and what's the symbolism in that? The remez is as much as we elevate the psolet, the garbage, and we make it into the roof, which is the schach, we put over our heads, so we need to elevate the importance of giving in all our aspects of life. The feeling the pain of the other person, the love for people. Above your love for people should be greater than you love yourself. Should be greater than the way you love yourself. So the schach really symbolizes the power that we said. We said to resist selfishness. That's why you cannot be, again, as we said, davar mekabel tuma, and so on and so forth. So we make the schach from branches that are psolet. In other words, something that separates between us and heaven. And the purpose of this minhag is really to indicate and to symbolize a process that happens in the pnimiyut of each and every one, in the internal process of each and every one of us. So at the beginning, a person, it seems to a person that he needs to, that the need to love others is really different. It's not as important as loving and taking care of yourself. I take care of myself first, and then I take care of others, right? Or like, oh, I'm going to help these homeless people. They're garbage. Leave me alone with them. They smell and so on and so forth. Why? They're not human. Why, you want to tell me you cannot end up like this? So we take something that's like this and we put it on top. And the second stage, a person understands that he can actually, he understands that he needs to do something to elevate the importance of his love to others to not to a different level when he gives for himself. And by the change of, and how does it do so? By changing his attitude towards these people, and he sees them as humans as well, and he sees them as people just like him, right? And if you thought that you were never going to sit down, you know, in whatever you are, in New York or whatever you are, you know, outside in the sun and you're freezing cold and water is coming down. You think about the homeless guy, and you complain. You think about the homeless guy who sits there every single day in the heat and in the cold, and he eats his food like this. Where's your compassion when you're sitting down, stretching your feet, you know, on a wool carpet next to your fireplace, listening to Charlie Mingus playing jazz, right? Maybe you're having a little whiskey over there, like Dulce Vita. How can you do this when you know there's somebody sleeping in the street like this? Huh? You tell me this. How can you go on vacation to I don't know what, Copacabana, I don't know, whatever people go on vacation, but nobody goes right there. And what do you think we can't go on vacations anymore to Barbados, to Punta Quintana, or whatever we go, Dominican Republic? Why do you think is that? Because you went there, you didn't care about anybody in your neighborhood. Guess what? Nobody's going. Nobody's going. Okay, so you call it coronavirus, I call it, a lesson. You think about those things. We didn't think about those things. That's all. Why don't we do? Okay, that's just, it also happens. Oh, who cares? But that's what it is. When you're going to feel the pain of the person, you see, sometimes I just can't believe how those people, I wish sometimes I just had, sometimes I wish I would be a billionaire. I'm telling you, it's hard for me to think. It's like, sometimes I feel like crying to think that there are, and believe me, there are people who are hungry for food. They're children who don't have anything to eat. Children, they don't have anything to eat. And I'm going to think about, I having lax today, or I'm having snug today. Oh, how about I'm going to have some sachet, right? How about those people? How about the people that have to, that have to share a piece of chicken on Shabbat? that the children have to share a piece of chicken when you take the whole entire chicken coop and you throw it into the garbage. Seriously. You know, we need to understand that. That's something that we need to understand. So you understand that this is how it is. How? Go outside to the schach. Go outside to the sukkah. You take them and you make them into people as well. So you know, this is a very important lesson. So we have the Arbat Aminim. The Arbat Aminim is connected 4 different types of the neshama, as are represented also in the names of Hashem, the Yud Kei Vav Kei, which are 4 different stages. The person comes in or could reach in his spiritual process that are known also in the levels that we said before. One is Ulav, one is Etrog, and so on and so forth. So when you're able to reach, so at the beginning you were like an Arava, and then you work yourself all the way up to Etrog. This is not just representation of the people, also spiritual stages that where you are. So therefore, I mean, we spoke before about our senses, and the senses, you know, we have the flavor and the sense of touch and so on and so forth. But what we do is to really hold them together, and we really shake them. And we're really shaking them, because when you ask him, like, let's say for example, you ask somebody, like you beg for something, please, I'm begging you, right? Please. What do? Right? We shake it like this. So we ask it in a way from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right? Please open my valve inside. I need some help. I wanna. Give me an opportunity to change. That's why it's very important, according to the Zohar, that you don't slack. Oh, Yom Kippur is over. All right, I got scot-free. Yom Kippur is over. You still have Shmini Atzeret. You can still change things. I'm going to tell you this again. I'm going to tell you this the following. Last year, if you want to know what you should have done last year, not this year, Rosh Hashanah, last year, right? And I think you should have davened for life. Did you daven for life this year? No, just, God, please, I want to pass my boards. Right? This is stupid. For life. We have many good reasons to pray. So, Kadosh Baruch Hu, Tishma, something is wrong with me. I understand. I should be asking for life. I went through the whole entire year of coronavirus. I know what's going on. I see people are going down. And I still think that it's absolutely nothing. Put your mask on, by the way. It's absolutely nothing, People take it like a joke. Oh, it's nothing. It's a government event. You've got to be an absolute moron to think that. It's not a joke. People are dying. Until today. People are dying. If you don't put a mask now in public places, you're basically saying those people are not important. You're not saying, I'm brave, I don't care. You are saying those people are not important. Why? Because you don't care about them getting sick. Well, what kind of person is that? You look at this very carefully at the way people conduct themselves. I don't know, Sometimes I don't want to dominate among people like that. I don't want to have to do anything with people like that. I told you this before. When you put the mask on yourself, you are fulfilling the mitzvah ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. Because it's more about you protecting other people than you protecting yourself. That you don't understand that. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, you know what, you guys don't understand what it is to give for yourself a mother. I can give you my little virus. Yes, they made it up in China, in some kind of a crazy lab. But they could have made, I don't know, a virus that people will glow in the dark. But not why dafka this? To teach us a lesson. Put the mask on for the other person. You need to have responsibility. You don't want to put a mask, stay home. Stay home. I find it difficult to daven with a mask. I daven at home. I'm not going to be embarrassed to tell you that. Because I don't want to come to tefillah. I'm telling you myself, I'm not telling you what to do. I don't come to tefillah and complain about davening and how davening is difficult for me with the mask and so on and so forth. I don't want to do it. I don't want to endanger other people, so I stay home. It's my choice. Right? Very simple. So, as we said, the Arava and the Arava doesn't have a flavor and doesn't have a reach. So the Ta'am is going to be the regesh you're feeling, and the reach is going to be the sechel. So the person who is in the stage of ahava doesn't understand the importance of spirituality, and he cannot even feel it, not in a sense and not in an intellect, nothing. The hadas is a person that again understands spirituality, and he understands it in the sechel, but he cannot feel it himself. Lulav is a person that the spirituality, he can feel it, he can understand that, but not in a regis. He doesn't feel it. Yeah, I feel it. Yeah, I go to the place. Oh, I feel something. I go to the kotel. Yeah, I feel something. I go to Israel. Yeah, I feel something. It's not important. Yeah, I like to go to shul, but I don't want to do this. That's a lulav. A trog, as we said before, is a person that he knows the importance of spirituality. He knows the importance, as we said, spirituality means your ability to give. He knows the importance of giving from yourself to others. He knows it both besechel, in his intellect, in his mind, and in his heart, in his feeling. There's no disconnect between the two. It's a straight line that goes like that. So we're talking about the sukkah. We said the sukkah above 20 amah is pasul. Why? Because the ratzon of the person is combined from 10 different halakim. 10 different halakim. Each one is 10 sferot, right? And 20 amah is keneged 10 sferot, in which the person feels the connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu from him. So you don't want to make it too high, and then you're not going to connect yourself to the sukkah. So that's in terms of that. And the Kabbalah teaches us that in order to make our internal sukkah inside, we need the internal sukkah inside of us. It's called sukkah shalom. Shalom again, it does not mean peace. It means harmony, harmonious sukkah. We need to be internally harmonious. And that's the sukkah. How do you get this harmony? Where you develop, when that is sukkah of ahava. And ahava of love, of loving your brother, loving your fellow Jew. Unity. When there's unity between us, there is also harmony. Right? I'm not a person who is going to try to break you from a place that you are because I'm not in a harmony. If I would tell you, listen, Mr. Z, where yeshiva you're learning? Okay, yeshiva X. Okay, leave that yeshiva. Come to me. Come learn with me. Daven with me, and so on and so forth. That's not love. That's a deceiving person. That's a person that puts separation in Am Yisrael. And a person like this, you should not even learn Torah with. Needless to say, you should not be his friend. We have to have this midah of ahava and unity, love and unity inside of us with all Jews, and especially during the Chagim. And if you know somebody who is somebody who is alone, it doesn't necessarily have to be a Holocaust survivor, which unfortunately there aren't so many left, and those who are left, many times they are just completely alone. Don't make them alone, bring them to the sukkah. Bring them to your sukkah. Buy them, send them flowers, bring them to the sukkah. It's a wonderful thing. It's a tremendous opportunity to really elevate ourselves from any machloket, please. And that's why Chachamim told us, you are not allowed to speak divrei chol in the sukkah. You're not allowed to play cards in the sukkah. You're not allowed to talk about politics in the sukkah. And I know right now, everybody talks about politics, Biden, Schmeiden, Trump, and all this nonsense. First of all, do not bring this to your tables. Don't bring this to your house. No, you don't need it. You don't need it. Go in your, when the election is, go cast your ballot, and that's it. Goodbye, good luck. Don't bring it into your life. It'll pull you apart. You bring in tumah. You bring in filth to your house. Leave your place clean. Vayam mishkadi kadosh. Keep it clean. Kadosh, kedusha, also separated. Separate yourself from this. Don't bring it to the sukkah. So everybody should be a place together. It should not have a place of sinat chinam. Yes, even if the guy is a liberal Jew, right? Which of course, liberal Jew is a kind of contradiction because liberalism is a religion by itself. And if you look into what religion is, it is. However, when it comes to your sukkah, there's no liberal Jew, there's no conservative Jew. There's a Jew and there's another Jew. That's what you should understand. So, and don't initiate, and if somebody starts talking to you divrei chol, mundane things, or whether it's business, or he's talking about, politics, just listen, let's sing a song, let's do something, leave us alone with this, let's enjoy ourselves into something greater than that. Let's not go down to this level. It's happening if you do our plan to go down. And when you do so, all of a sudden you see that you can connect to people, and people can connect to you, and there will be an opportunity for you to connect them to the Torah as well. And together with that, we have a simchat olam, an eternal joy. When Olam Israel is together, it's united. What do you think HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants? HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to be dismembered, all over the place. He wants us to be one functioning body in harmony with one another. Right? That's exactly what it is. And of course, at the end of that, we come to Simchat Torah, which we said before. Simchat Torah is really the light, the or of the Torah. And Torah milshon or, right? And it says, Barati Yetzer Ra, Barati Torah, Tavlin. I created the Yetzer Hara, the selfishness and egoism and even inclination. And against that, I created a certain spice that is going to fix it, and that is the Torah.